Well, hello everybody. Just popping in today for a quick one. We're very busy weekend. I haven't had time to look at the game at all. Partly because whatever was influencing my VPN while trying to upload the reveals the other Thursday is still influencing my phone and well the VPN in general. And I've been able to get very little apart from a bit of chatting um on Discord going. But yeah, cannot get the game to load through Google Play, so can't play off the phone, can't even load the game and see the update. But just stopping in home for a little bit, and I've got a chance to sit down, load the game, which loads okay off Steam, and have a look at the cards. So this will be my first time having a look, although I have obviously seen the reveal cards. I revealed a few myself, and there will be some that I have also had a chat to people about on Discord. But that said, let's have a look at the other ones and give a quick little analysis while I have a bit of time on my hands. So, no, not that one. There it is. Okay, so Caliban expansion. First of all, the Arvus lighter. This was revealed already. It's alright. It's okay. Draw a card for one is just perfect rate for drawing a card. It cycles basically. Cycles basically from you draw it and you don't want it, you need something else. Use this. I'd say its most used mode will be to refill two energy, basically refilling one, of course, because it does cost one. Heal two, not what you're going to be doing most of the time. Very little chance of that being the most useful thing you can be doing. Healing two life for one energy and using a whole card to do so is not really what you want to be doing. Yeah, refilling two energy can be useful in some. I guess useful as it's kind of a filler card, and that's what it is with the draw a card. Sometimes it'll be useful, like, oh, I need an extra energy this turn, and that's when you use it for that instead. Otherwise, you're just filling your card in your deck and looking for something else. Some kind of tactic deck where going through tactics works fine. Would have been great in Korak's Warp Retreat. Warp Retreat with the boys who pop in, give you sentence, and then get Warp Retreated away. This would help cycle through your deck faster. Exactly what you're after, and maybe they knew this was coming, and that's why they nerfed the Warp Retreat combo. But it'll be alright. In fact, I can even there's another card in the new neutrals, which I might be using for a bit of a combo deck, and this might work out okay in that deck, but I'll see how it works before I talk too much about it. It might be my very first um, deck building video I've ever made. I normally do event videos and reveals, but hey, maybe that's something I can do. Avenger Fighter. Yeah, I revealed this one. It's a dud. It's there's almost anything it's good at, another card surely does better, except for the fact it stuns a vehicle. Stun is good, but it's only a vehicle, and a lot of the time, this is a dead card in your hand. If you're not facing someone with troops, you can't even use it. At least other damage tactics sometimes you can use, or use it just on the warlord. Um, yeah, this is basically a what's it called? A weaker seek and destroy built for fighting vehicles, but it's not even as good as that because it's weaker and the vehicles are possibly the least seen troop type in the game. Possibly structures are less, but hey, now the knights have structures, so you're probably seeing more of those around. If it's stunned vehicles and structures, maybe if it's stunned Titan warlord weapons, or yeah, just missed opportunity here, I think. And I go into much more detail in my reveals video, but I've got a lot to say about this one, and none of it is very good. That said, it's not offensive that it's here. You can't have every card be great, and I guess this is just another one for people building up their collection. Here we come to our first legendary, Lord Malchial. Don't know who this guy is. I don't know much about Dark Angel's lore, and he looks like he's one of the defenders of Caliban kind of uh, person with duplicitous after all. And right, it looks like he's filling the same kind of role that we've seen many, many times. I was having a conversation with someone on Reddit about um, they were saying they didn't want to see another legendary, a cheap legendary, um, utility card like Ekratrez or Cal Zulain or um, uh, Dewback. And well, unfortunately for them, here's this one right here, which is exactly that basically. It's very survivable, coming down on turn 2 with Duplicitous, turn 1 with Duplicitous. Most most people can't shift it in a single turn, so it's going to get to do its thing, which will be to ramp you for a turn, and possibly for a second turn. If they put it down, um, put it down, and they can't clear it, they put it down turn 1, turn 2 it gets you up to 4 energy, and then if they still can't clear it in that turn, maybe get another turn out of it. Depends on who you're fighting against, basically. With 4 health, that'll survive a while. Um, but yeah, good to be a ramp. It's kind of in a way like a abandoned supplies. Abandoned supplies will, if as long as this guy gets you 2 usages of his energy ramping, then you will you will get this turn 2 energy now into 2 energy later. And if you're getting on turn 1, that's likely to happen. Getting it later in the game, I'm saying that's probably not happening, or may not even useful. If this comes down on turn 10, what do you do with it? It's not going to help you very much at all. It's not going to swing the game. The enemy can largely just ignore it. Um, there may be a few niche circumstances where it helps out there. I'm not sure if you can spend 5, gain 1, and then, or if you can even gain to 11. I don't know if that's the thing. Maybe they cap it. It's a hard cap at 10. Kind of have to see how it works out. But yeah, not. I don't think it's going to be hugely game. It'd be handy and maybe annoying for the opponent to face. I mean, I could see going down in my Salamanders deck to get out some early um, epistolaries or something. That's a very nice card to get out early, and yeah, I'd love to do that. But and I'm sure that every faction has something they can get out a bit earlier and be happy to see it happen. But if you don't get it early on, maybe it's a bit of a dead card. Like whereas Dewback can still draw his card. Duplicit is less and less relevant as the game goes on, and I think that will be something that holds his power back. So I think it's fairly balanced. It can, give you a great boost early on, but maybe later on it's just more of a dead draw. But okay, we'll see how it pans out. I think yeah, again, it's one of the cheap legendaries that the person was afraid of. But as I told them, like, hey, just because you can't include all the cheap legendaries in your deck. You can't have Kaiser Lane and a Lord Malchial and Dewback and Ekra. That's you're gonna have no actual cards that have any impact. What's the point of dropping this guy and getting nothing to put down later except for Dewback or something? Anyway, let's see, Discipline Master. This is revealed, and yeah, like it's Ornitov. It's Ornitov in troop form. Yeah, this would be quite handy, I think, in many decks, being able to front line up a friendly infantry or Astartes is the relevant part because you can get some real beefcakes with the Astartes. I'd love to front line Tekel, Forge Master Tekel, having him with his 14 health or whatever it is, 5 survivor and 9 regular or whatever. Yeah, that's going to take a while to chunk through, and for one energy, that's a good deal. Being not just Tekel. Who's the other one? The really annoying one in well, that describes a lot of them, doesn't it? Orphans of War. Orphans. Barabbas. Yeah. I'd love to have him with a front line, huh? Making more front lines as well. But yeah, all right, it's an okay card and fairly well costed as well. Fairly costed, decent, perfectly decent stats as well as having an ability at only common. So yeah, that's all right, not bad. Uncharted Territory. Yeah, another one I revealed. Also not very sold on it. It's too random. I mean, what do you choose a faction to draw out the cards that you want? Because like, oh, I want chaos for all the board sweeping and the artillery strikes and the def sats and all these kind of tactics, or and then end up with nothing but the chaos cultists, which is not helping your plan in any way. Um, Maybe you choose Imperials for the tanks or the frontline troops or something, and then end up with a whole stack of abandoned supplies, which wouldn't be the worst, I suppose, but at the same time, it's not going to. If that's not what you chose the faction for, you know, if you're choosing a faction for troops or tactics, it's going to be they have a bit of a theme to them all, so it would be much more focused on getting what you want. But any cards, yeah, I don't know. But again, I've discussed this more in my reveals video, and go check that out if you want to. Um, and the thing that I think might save it is you will often see things like create random cards, creating good random cards. I think it might be skewed towards that. Like Kaiser Lane. How often have you seen Kaiser Lane or Pyramid or Mount Pharos? How often do they create cards which are rares and the legendaries and epics and stuff over the commons? It's, you know, people show Kaiser Lane um, a few turns on where he's given their warlord um, 5 different war gears, which make them into some kind of combat monster. You know, it's common to get good cards with the create random cards, and I think the developers have, written that into the generation. Possibly, we'll see. People will be testing this, I'm sure, and we'll see how it pans out. But I'm not sold on it as written here. If it's like create 3 random good cards, still not super sold, but hey, that's it's actually pretty good card advantage. That's turn 1 card into 3. Yeah, yeah, that's all right for 4 energy. That's a decent rate. But yeah, I want to see that tested before I really give my opinion on it. Defense Force, another one that people have revealed before. Just it's Death Shroud. Death Shroud, well overpriced, well understated, but neutral, so anyone can get it, and there's no conditioner. So the only way you can get rid of these guys is with jam. You can't you can have more than one troop on the board, for example. Yeah, that I mean, for starters, it's just great for certain combos that want to just kill a troop or sacrifice a troop for something. Yeah, you just continuously sacrifice it and get. I'm sure that's going to be a thing. I'm sure decks that love sacrifice will love this thing. If you can cheat it down, even better, because you don't really want to be paying 10 for a 6/6. No matter how many times it comes back, it can still only affect the board once every turn, right? But yeah, like word bearer decks, I'm sure will love this. If the game is not already decided before turn 10, though, that's the sticking point. If you can find some way to cheat it out or discount it or something like this, that would be great. Yeah, but I think the main problem with the 10 energy, a lot of the games will already be decided by that turn, and the fact this keeps on coming back, although it could make a nice combo for sacrificing troops or so on. And that was another one, Defenders of Caliban, with the one who every time a troop dies gives Defenders of Caliban in general, the fact that they destroy their own troops to deal an effect. Yeah, that'll be good because they can destroy their own troop and it'll come back, so they don't pay anything for this. Again, 10 energy. That's the only thing, and that's going to really limit it, I think. Eta Pi 2 Tech Guard. Rally, if you control structure, gain frontline and 1/1. It's a 1/2 for 1. You know, it's a decent rate. The rally is really conditional though, like how often you see structures. And yeah, like we will be seeing more. The Night Houses have plenty. The Defenders of Caliban have a few, I believe, including a legendary one. It might just be a legendary one. Either way, they have a legendary structure, and I think they will be due to receive a balance patch, probably. So maybe that will get more useful. I know it's not the most used card right now, but I don't know. These structures will need to be relevant for us to see these guys at all. Really, really good rate if they do, and we can reliably put structures down. But if not, do you really want to be risking a 1/2 in your deck? Like that's taking up a card slot. That's the main thing you've got to consider. Oh, it's only one energy. It doesn't really, yeah, it doesn't matter because that's the excuse I've heard before. It doesn't matter because it's so cheap, but it's still a card. Like at some point you will draw this, and if you don't have a structure, you will be very sad, particularly if you're playing a top deck war towards the end of the game. You know, the enemy top decks a defense force, and you top deck Eta Pi 2. Yeah, doesn't matter how much it costs then, does it? So yeah, I'm probably not going to see a lot of play this one, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe if you've got a structure heavy, Iron Warriors actually, a lot of barricades. Maybe they can. Yeah, all right, I'll give you that. These maybe they're probably designed for the Night Houses, given the look of them, but I'd say you probably see more play with the Iron Warriors. Oh, and also they get their own front line. All right, yeah, okay. So an Iron Warriors deck who just maybe a Perturabo who just really wants to turtle up behind some barricades and cheap troops. Like, hey, I guess that's another reason putting Iron Warriors. You can sacrifice him to yeah, what's that effect that gives all your troops +1? Haven't seen Iron Warriors play for a while, but yeah, if they have that, it's just a one cost troop that gets to be sacrificed away for buffing all the other troops in your hand. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's an Iron Warrior card. I don't think it was meant to be, but it might end up there. Terraforming. So there's a tutor for the structures, which shows that they're trying to push the structures a bit. Come to think of it, actually, excuse me. Excuse me. Is it still? Why are we not? Okay. There we go. Yeah. Now that I think about it, things like Mount Pharos, Arcology. Arcology is a lot less played now. Pharos and Photep are actually, um, yeah, they're actually quite in some neutral decks. Maybe that's where you put it in. I mean, I know I've had decks before which have the supply lines just to draw out the one or two vehicles that I have, and maybe that's part of a Lucretia strategy, because I know Lucretia's one of her main issues is trying to get card draw out, so she often plays the Mount Pharos. So maybe this is a way to have an extra 2 copies of Mount Pharos in the deck. All right. On the other hand, though, you know, if she draws a Mount Pharos, then these two become dead cards, and then she still has her card draw problem, but at least she has a Mount Pharos. All right. So yeah, if you want a structure, this is what you want in the deck, I guess. If you specifically need to get a structure on the table, use this thing. Same as the vehicles. You know, if you got the supply lines from before, it gives you an extra few copies of the vehicle that you really want to get to. In my case, it was the Irradiator. Now those are very handy cards, so being able to draw them out more reliably. Taghmata. Taghmata Formation. Yeah. Well, okay, obviously there's another, for each enemy, put in play a Mechanicum troop that costs 3 or less. Obviously here, a very good parallel to the Ornithop's Barge, but effect is much less powerful. Well, let's have a look. What have we got here? Oh, 3 or less. Okay, so we've got civilians, that'd be a good hit. That'd be a good hit because that also will bounce the troop back when they try and kill it. Although that can also be a blessing and a curse. People definitely play hard into that one, making sure they bounce back there into the battlefield troops, their rally troops, I should say. Yeah, like bouncing back Melgator or something. That's not what you want. You're giving the enemy a huge bonus there. Oh, actually, what's going on here? I'm sure there's more than that. It's got to be more than that, right? Is it just searching the... Oh, I don't need to, like, refresh it or something. Yeah, there's more troops there. No, it's just looking at the text box. Alright. Okay, I've got it as the hard way. So, okay. It's right as a stealth card, it's 3 damage, but very easy to die, but to any kind of effect at all to hit stealth. Yeah, you're not going to get the rally, so that's just a 1/3. Melgator is just a 1/3 too. Road Towel, yeah, you'd be hoping for that, I guess. Again, that's just a 2/2 without the stealth, so really you're hoping for Secretary, Axiarch. That's the one you're hoping for, really. Transmechanic, basically it's got a whole bunch of 1/3s or 3/1. Or Arcadius. Another 1/3. Yeah, there's a whole lot of bad troops in Mechanicus at under 3 cost. Oh, here we go. There's much more than civilians, of course. Not one you want either. Dark Engines here, maybe you're hoping for that. That's a big blob of damage, but no stealth, unlike the other ones, means that it's gonna... Yeah, apparently, I never really thought about it before, but most Mechanicum troops really rely on their rally abilities. That's not so bad as a 4/3 if you've got some kind of Mechanicum buffing cards, because it becomes much better. The 2 damage a turn matters less to it. Shield generator, maybe that on the other hand, that could backfire if you're playing tactics, like you might be with the if you're playing this card in the first place. Taghmata Formation, you're playing tactics, maybe this bites you in the bum when you generate 5 shield generators and you can never play another tactic again because it hits your own too. So, all right, not super sold on that one then. Termite Assault Drill. During infantry or stationary deck and give it flank. Connect. Ah, yes, the one I reveal, of course. Yeah. Again, I need to point out to people who have asked me, this does not put it into play. You just draw it. Okay, it doesn't hit the table. It's just drawn into your hand, and then you can flank with it when you play it. So it's not putting it for free. You're not getting really discounted in Astartes here. You don't get to put down again Barabbas or something for free and give him flank and win the game. No, that's not what's happening here. So yeah, look, again, I talked about more in my reveals video. I don't want to run out of time here, so I'm just going to say very briefly, it doesn't do that. And in fact, a lot of the time, this is going to be you're really just taking a turn off when every time you use this to draw. Like you're taking a turn off, putting it down almost, and then because it's understated. And yes, it's giving you the card draw advantage, but then you're playing undercurve to try and do that. Is flank worth 3? It's very strong, but what if you draw your Arcadius and give it flank or something, you know, or Melgator? Yeah, like something like your again, yes, this defense forces might be a good hit. Something like okay, none of these cards here are good hits, but yeah, like if you draw any of these cards, you're not going to be happy about it, right? So you have to really build your deck around getting this ability and using it. Maybe using a supply lines as well to get it out early, so the taking a turn off matters less as your enemy tries to deal with it. If they don't have cheap destroy effects, then maybe it's going to stick around for longer, and we'll see. I'll talk about it in my reveal video. But actually, I do have an idea with this thing. If it works, very big if, but it might be involved in the same deck I was talking about with the Arvus Lighter. We'll see. Just the big vehicle, the ability deal 3 damage 3 times, also deal 9 damage to a target, and kind of work around Survivor. Yeah, we see plenty of these things, and they very often are played in the high ladder. Yeah. Why 3 times? Why not? Well, I suppose maybe they wanted to put 9 and wanted the 3 to. Wanted the 3 times means that it works around Survivor 3 or something. Yeah, but understated. It's obviously meant to be an ability using troop, but man, taking 4 energy to deal 9. Yeah, most things die to less than that, so I guess it's a threat. You know, again, I will. Okay, sorry. Maybe cards that use sentencing will really enjoy to have this one, because you might be able to triple your damage with the sentencing involved. It just most of these cards don't see a lot of play because they're too easy to work around, too easy to destroy, too easy to take out. You know, there are better tanks than this that see less play than they might want to, because you know, they just don't stick around. I won't bother going to them right now. I'm sure you've seen them before. All right, Underhive tunnels. What's this one? Oh no, I've seen this one too. This is also revealed. Duplicities to a friendly infantry. People have compared this to the stealth tactic, escape vent, but I don't see it as being as good. Yes, duplicities last for longer, and it's only immunity from the warlord. I guess maybe it means I want this troop to survive for an early turn. Maybe you give it to again, like by the time any troop which is surviving for longer than a turn or two to use the duplicitus, like maybe Dewback or something. Not Dewback, Star Wars. Dewback. He's maybe he gets benefit out of this because he just sits there. He sits on the board, and you know, generates cards for you. There are other ones like that too. Iron Hands. You know the one I'm thinking of. He's like Iron Hands Dewback. Dewback. Just sits there and doesn't want to attack. Just generates cards. Yeah, maybe this becomes it doesn't hit a start. It's unlike these escape vents, so that's another downside for it. Can't be put on some of your buffing trips. Does it hit? I can't remember if he's in starties or not. There is a card, Master Ramiel. Is he infantry? Yes. Maybe. Oh, he's already got duplicitous though, so maybe if he loses it for some reason, give it back to him. But I don't like wasting a card slot. Like escape vent. When it came out, I used to use it a lot with my Salamander's troops to try and make sure they survive to get their sacrifice off or their flamethrower attack off or whatever it was that I wanted them there for. Yeah, it using a whole card turn and you having to have both the cards, like if you including this in your deck to use with Dewback, you need to draw them both at the same time to actually, or else Dewback dies as he always does. So, and then you've got this to protect what? Like what are you specifically trying to protect with this? Yeah, maybe it comes in handy when the enemy warlord, like Kurz. He wants to bite your troop and get his stealth off, but you use this to maybe not let him do that. Maybe that's what it is. But again, infantry, so much less utility. I'm not sure I'll be using it for many things. It had to be so specific, the plan I have, and try and get two cards in the hand at the same time that you need can be tricky. All right. Okay, so there's another. It generates a tactic, adds it to your hand, costs one less. Okay. Um, Not too hard to get this down to 1 or 2, which makes it a very good card draw. Um, yeah, for a free card sometimes even. Well, free. Change this into the card you want. I mean, you could change it into another Forbidden Library and just have an infinite combo, couldn't you? Chaos Tactic. I suppose if you're going with Cultists in the first place, there are a few Chaos Tactics that might be really handy to tutor up. You don't get to choose one from your deck, though, so again, generating one randomly, and you might just get a bunch of ones like maybe you're after, I want Demon Summoning, or one of the other like cultist ones, Mark of whatever, Cygnus, create cultists in your hand, and then you end up just generating Seek and Destroys or something that really does not help you against the warlord you're fighting. Uh, yeah, okay. It should probably work because you're choosing. You probably get to choose the one that is at least on track to what you're trying to get, and the fact you can get it from 1 or 2. Yeah, I like things that make cards, and I like the choosing thing that started to introduce recently. So yeah, sure. Choose one troop from your deck and draw it. Tuchulchulchacha Engine. Tuchulcha Engine. What is this anyway? Like, is he wearing jeans? I'm very confused by all this. Okay, choose one troop from your deck and draw it. Okay, that's really nice actually. That can help you choose the specific troop you want. Okay, maybe maybe you do get to use this with the troop you want. Maybe you can get them both in your hand at the same time with a combination of these. Yeah, being able to, if you have 3 or less troops in your deck, you will always get the one you want with this card. And sometimes getting the troop that you want, it's going to start enabling more combos. Combos that involve getting the troops that you want. Yeah, this could start working for him. Maybe this even works with the deck I was thinking of, which does not involve many troops at all. So I will always find the one that I'm after. So yeah, choosing is great. I like choosing cards, and choosing from your own deck. You put them there because you want them. Generating them randomly can be fun. Sometimes it's really helpful. Maybe it gives you one that you're after, but other times it gives you rubbish. And I like ones that say choose one troop from your deck and draw it. Choose one anything from your deck because I put it there. I want it for a reason, and now I get to have it. So I like that card. Good. Thumbs up. In fact, maybe the first time I said thumbs up. It really like this. Really like this one. Undercover Cultist. We've seen this guy already. Yeah, he's been nerfed a bit, it looks like. Used to be free, I believe. Yeah, I guess he comes down turn 1, doesn't die to the enemy warlord, and then draws a cultist for you. really helpful in, because I'm sure with all these cultists we're seeing now with the new cultist symbol, there will be people running cultist decks, and yeah, they'll be happy to have this because it means they get so many free cultists. Well, they get to draw them out of their deck. They get to have them in their hand again from your deck. I put them there for a reason. I don't want random cards given to me. I want the cards that I put in there, and I want them in my hand now. Anything that does that for me is good. So yeah, thumbs up to this guy. You know, it's weak as a troop, but the fact he can draw cards for me and almost guaranteed at least one, as long as or the enemy spends a resource to kill it. So you know, you win some, you lose some. Cultist Brute. This will be fairly easy to get off. Hold on, let's see if we can do this. Do I have to reset the whole thing again? Yeah, that works. Okay, cool. Cultist. There are plenty. Yeah, look at all these things are being classified as cultists now. So there's plenty of cultists you can get. Plenty of ways to generate cultists, and the acolytes. They're quite a good card to include with one like this too, because when they attack, they die, and then he gets their power twice. And I could, yeah, this guy could be pumped pretty fast, pretty fast. What's what I was going to say? Pretty fast and hard. Yeah, phrasing. Okay, let's ignore what I said there, and just let's stick to the fact that you can get this guy pretty strong pretty quickly. There we go. Is that still phrasing? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, plenty of good cultists. Well, plenty of average cultists. Horse cultists are quite used. Righteous Zealots are used for triggering a whole bunch of death triggers and stuff. Cygnus Acolytes are used in decks which care about things dying and care about demons as well. And hold on, let's mute that. All right, okay. And pause again. And probably stop this time, I believe. Okay. Lost track. Anyway, cultist. Good. This guy can probably. You'll need to hold him back until you've got a bunch of cultists on the table already. Then drop him, attack in. He turns into like a 7/7 or something. It wouldn't be too hard to pull off, I don't think. Particularly with, and this is another one I saw already. Can't attack at the end of your turn, putting a random 3-cost cultist into play, like the old Arcology, but it makes a better, well, I guess random troop. So 3-cost cultist. It could be the Brute, for example. There we go. Not a lot of options for 3-cost, but Brotherhood's good. They really want to take care of that, or else it kind of runs away with Marks of Chaos. Adept, it's another one they do want to take care of, or else you can use it to, I guess, he's working down the chain. You start off with the Adept, and then you put in play a 2-cost, and then he puts in play a 1-cost. There you go. You can. It's like cascading cultists. I'm gonna have to make a deck called Cascading Cultists and try and pull that off. And again, actually, all right, I'll take it back. They might not be many, but every single one of them is one that you really don't want to allow to stay alive. If this guy gets sacrificed off, he turns into a better troop. I'm not sure. They put in the cultist mark, but they should have put a lesser demon. Did they do that too? Lesser demon. Like I don't know, swarm of flies still count. They're demons, right? So they count as lesser demons. I'm not sure what counts exactly, but yeah, like All right, he turns into another troop. At the very least, you're getting some kind of value out of him dying if he sacrifices. So you want to take care of him in the same turn he comes down before he attacks. Yeah, again, you want to take care of him before he explodes into a giant. He's probably actually the one that the opponent is least upset to see come down, because he's only a 2/2 until he gets buffed, and that does not count as a cultist, making it that was never good, and it never got any better because it wasn't included in the cultist list. But anyway, at the end of your turn. So if a brute came down, that'd actually be the worst thing you could get, because it would not get to buff in the same turn. It's just a 2/2 that can be rather easily dispatched compared to. But there you go. It's a cultist generator. At the very least, it's going to generate another 2/2 for you. I've seen the other Arcology worked quite well. It needed to be nerfed, and this is obviously this doesn't have the backlash to generate a whole bunch of little dudes when it dies. So not quite as much guaranteed value, but more value over time, I think. Probably more value over time, considering every single one of those 3-cost grinds has an ability, whereas the Imperial, what is he, Calth Infantry, was it, that they generate from the Arcology? Yeah, that's just an infantry. Yeah, it's just a 2/2. He has no ability at all because rally is not relevant. But yeah, all these cultists are good ones. Why are you not a cultist? Wow, so you remain horrible as a card. There's power creep for you. This is in the first set, and he was considered strong enough that he needed Berserk to counter his power as a downside. Now look at the cards around him. Anyway, yeah, he was never good. He never will be good. Even Fire Cultist at least got the Cultist mark. If he had Cultist mark, at least you'd have, some synergies going with him. You didn't get it either, but you're at least semi-playable. Nope, sorry, excuse me. That's not how it works. Caliban, back to Caliban. All right. So yeah, good. Good. The other cultist synergies, there will definitely be cultist decks to be made. I'm sure they're already hitting the ladder as we speak. Renegade Knight. Duplicitous again to help him stay alive, although at this point, again, Duplicitous, as I was saying, gets less and less valuable as the game goes on, because the enemy's got more ways to kill the things without using their Warlord. But yeah, it's relevant against people who, like, I don't know, play Angron or Kurz. I mean, yeah, this is quite relevant against Kurz. After all, he doesn't get to use this to gain his stealth. All duplicitous troops are. Understated, duplicitous is not a great guarantee of survival. And the relentless gain a mark of chaos. Do we like this? It's not bad. Not bad. If you can give him an extra way of surviving, I think. Maybe you drop another mark of chaos on him when you first play the card. Like, wait, don't play him on curve. Play him later, drop a mark of chaos on him somehow. Try and get stealth on him, which is much better for survivability than... excuse me. Much better for survivability than duplicitous. And then hopefully he pops off. If you get stealth on him, or the Tzinch mark, or something like this, and then let him roll away with stealth, that'd be good. He can turn into a greater demon within a few turns. Even if not, like if he gets if you get a mark on him and then another mark, maybe he gets Nurgle. Obviously is not what you want, but Slanesh, Slanesh and Khorne, or Slanesh and Nurgle. Slanesh and Nurgle's also a fairly decent combo. Yeah, not great. But maybe it's troop in some decks that some neutral decks or something. I don't think you see much Legion play because I don't need him. I think these are. I think he will do well with some of the um what's it? What's the Chaos Warlord? Ingathel or Lucretia as well. Getting able to play him for cheaper, so he's actually good value at that point. Yeah, so much duplicitous. Reduce the cost of your next infantry as turn by two. Okay, all right. Yeah. So it's like what's his name? Dark Engine Seer. Dark Engine Seer for any troop at all, not just vehicles, not just chaos cards. I mean, can do it on a start. He's no, sorry, infantry. Excuse me. It's a good ability. He's more likely to survive because he just, same health, but coming down earlier. And maybe at this point, this is when the warlord is still helping deal with troops before he's got his own troops out to deal with stuff. So yeah, maybe surviving a turn, and maybe you get a cheap infantry. Which is all right. Again, probably more for a neutral deck than a Legion deck. But not half bad. It's always good to get cheap stuff out cheaper. And last of all, Watches in the Dark. Another one. This is one that I heard about very early on Discord. And I got a bit of a hot take in that I don't think it's all that good as people were gushing about. I saw maybe just these like Watches in the Dark as a concept, but I don't think it's all that strong. I mean, people think, oh, it's just anti Orphans of War, anti stealth, yay, hooray. Yeah, it's anti ward and stuff like this, but a 2/2 stealth is not that hard to deal with. I don't think this is all that good. I think it's more or less just a. I don't think it's going to have much effect on the game. You've got to start playing off curve to jam a random non-structure enemy troop. The non-structure part, probably not all that relevant, but maybe it's just in there for flavor because I'm not sure what structures I'm worried about him jamming. But yeah, you've got to roll the dice to try to hit the troop that you want jammed if there's more than one on the table. And do you really want to be paying one for that? Maybe if it's maybe you're able to remove the other ones fairly reliably, but you got to start chipping into your own energy supplies here to try and jam these things. And yeah, I don't think like I was actually quite when I heard about this. I didn't see the random part because people were just telling me about it. Like, oh, it's a jammer troop, and I was like, oh no, because as a Salamanders player, I do not like jam. My troops are already overpriced and understated because of the survivor and sacrifice, right? So jam for Salamanders is a nightmare. Any card with jam on it must also reads Ruin Iron Duke's dreams. But yeah, I'm not all that. Now I've read it again. I'm not all that worried. Like if I've got two troops on the board, one of them is one that I do not want jammed, and the other is one that, like most troops, does not care if it is jammed. Like, okay, all these ones here are not good examples, but like, let's switch over to actually, all these ones with their abilities are examples of cards that you do not want jammed. Do you care if your Eta Pi is jammed? Do you even really care that much if this is jammed? If the enemy's paying, if they've got it set up with a stealth troop on board and then pay one energy to randomly hit it, like do they care? But more importantly, most of the troops that are not these ones here with special long-term abilities, do you care if these guys get jammed? These have a rally ability. Do you care if this gets jammed? Not at all. Do you even care that much? Well, you don't care if Vulturax gets jammed. You don't care if he gets jammed. These are, all these are just random neutrals I'm picking out. Most of them, you don't care. Maybe it's even a benefit if it gets jammed. Oh no, it doesn't attack by itself at the start of the turn anymore. Oh no, my neutrino irradiator was jammed. Yeah, that doesn't want to be jammed. Some of these things, yeah, sure, you don't want to have jammed, but other things, it don't care that much. Like, even I was saying, I don't like my troops jammed as salamanders, but, oh no, he's going to lose his front line and his ability, but, yeah, he's just the pile of stats anyway, usually. Um, oh no, this is jammed. It's still a 5/5. It's still, you know, this one don't want jammed, but other things, and that's salamanders. Um, I guess space wolves care, because they have lots of ward. Obviously, they don't want the ward being jammed off them. Custodies would love to be jammed, in fact. Like, oh no, my giant stat block, which had a penalty attached to it, is now just a giant stat block. Woe is me. Yeah. They'll lose some things like, first strike and stuff, but hey, they still get a giant stat block, which now no longer has a sentinel ability. Yeah, maybe they, because it's not targeted, it's not the precognition answer people were hoping for, I don't think. I think it's what people wanted there with when they saw this, like, oh, it's an answer to precognition, answer to stealth. It needs to be random to hit stealth, but you don't want to be random hit precognition, because you want to target the precognition specifically, or the it needs to be it's an answer to ward as well. I should also point out, and that would also needs to be random. But the fact that it is um, random means that I only need to have a second troop that you do not want to jam on the table to mess you up and make it even a bad decision sometimes to use this. Even if I've just got a stat block troop, um, you know, even if I've just got this guy, yeah, I'd prefer him to have his backlash, but he's still a 3/3 for 3 if you jam him. I don't care too much. Yeah, some things you prefer have their ability, but is it really worth a troop sitting on the table, which is again pretty vulnerable to lots of different kinds of removal, any kind of rain of fire, defense satellites, artillery strike, volcanic instability, all these ways of removing it off the table, as well as hitting other things too. So you're not losing a lot by trying to get it off. Yeah, I don't think it's as good as people were gushing about when they first saw it. It's an answer to some things which were annoying, like ward in particular, and some precognition and stuff like this, but I don't think it's that fantastic. Anyway, that's my take on the cards. Oh wow, I was only going to do a short one. Yeah, so much for that. But yeah, anyway, next, got to head off. But when I am back, people have requested that I go through and show myself dumping all my gold to get as many duplicates as I can, which is bound to happen. So when I actually have a chance to sit down, I might try to live stream that if I do get that chance. And my first try of doing so, and if that's what people have asked to see, well, let's see if we can do it. Might be a good experiment, and it's good to try and experiment with a live stream like that where I'm not risking anything with my connection, trying to handle the streaming at the same time as because if this stream cuts out, there's no loss. I don't lose the game or anything like that, so I don't lose an event run. So with that said, I'll catch you guys all in a day or so when I try that out. Until then, I'm going to, unlike what I wanted to already have spent all this and generated all my duplicates. But people have asked, so we will try that out in a day or so. Catch you all then.